What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. We're back in Historic with a little best of one, kind of a janky, meme kind of list. So Amonkhet Remaster, we got a Drakehaven. It's a really sweet card from Amonkhet. Block, it's a 3-mana enchantment. Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you can pay one color, one colorless mana, and if you do, create a 2/2 blue Drake creature token with flying. So obviously it goes really well with cycling, but even like the discard aspect as well. You can get some pretty sweet value off of that. So decided to do something a little bit different and make it with the Song of Creation. It's a 4-mana enchantment. You may play initial land on each of your turns, and whenever you cast a spell, draw 2 cards. At the beginning of your end step, you discard your hand. So this card, this enchantment ramps you up and forces you to discard at each of your end steps. So if you're playing a bunch of extra lands every turn and you're discarding your entire hand every turn, then obviously you're going to have mana open to make some drakes at your end step. So that's some pretty nice synergy there. So basically we're just running kind of a Temur draw 2 shell, but like no Uros or anything, stupid or obviously bust like that. We're doing Drakehaven instead. So we do have like Teferi here to draw us cards and discard us as well. So it kind of gives us value on both ways with a +1. And being able to do this on your opponent's turn is it's pretty busted with what we're trying to do here. And of course the -3 can be relevant in certain situations, so we don't just get blown out by our opponent's big threats or whatever. So 2 copies here of Teferi, also at our top end here at 4 mana. Lorescale Coatl, a big fan of this card, 2/2 for 3, and every time you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So pretty simple creature, nice straightforward design, really cool. A couple Royal Scions here. Legendary Planeswalker, of course, 3 mana, 5 loyalty, +1, draw and discard a card, so obviously both halves of this are relevant. And the +1 to also give a creature +2/+0 first strike and trample on turn of turn is pretty sweet. If we can get our Lorescale Coatl to stick around for several turns, and it's like an 8/8, but our opponent has like 1/1s and 2/2s or whatever they can just chump block it with. Oh, we can give it trample with the Royal Scions, so that's pretty sweet. One of Clear the Mind. The thing with the Song Creation deck is you can really go through your library super fast. So Clear the Mind lets us kind of reset our library so we don't mill ourselves out. So we shuffle our graveyard back into our library and draw a card. So hopefully we don't find this in the early game. That's why we're just running one of. Hopefully we can kind of find this in the mid to late game to cast a spell, draw a card, trigger the Song of Creation to draw an additional 2 cards, and really just kind of go off with that. Jolrael, of course, fits in with a draw 2 strategy, 2 mana, 1/2. Every time you draw your second card, you'd make a 2/2 cat creature token. 4 Radical Ideas and 4 Glimpse of Freedoms. These work fantastic with Song of Creation because you can recast them. Obviously, Radical Idea is a jumpstart card, so you can only do it once. You cast it once from your hand, and then you jumpstart it, and then it gets exiled, so it's gone. Whereas a Glimpse of Freedom, you can escape this. You can cast this over and over from your graveyard as long as you have 3 mana and 5 other cards in your graveyard, which you're going to be casting and discarding and tons of spells and things like that. So just gives us some nice flexibility in the late game to, even if we just top deck a land, well, we can't trigger the spell side of this to draw 2 cards. So we need other ways to do that. So like Teferi, obviously, we can draw a card, discard that land, and find a spell that we can cast and chain some stuff together to get our draws and our discards going, so we can proc our Drakehaven tokens and our Lorescale Coatls and things like that. But we also kind of want to ramp into these 3 drops if possible, because the Drakehaven is pretty key and the Lorescale Coatl is also pretty key. So whenever possible, it'd be nice to have a turn 2 to have 3 lands open, so we can get our Coatl or Scions online a turn early, and that'll really speed up our game plan and give us a huge advantage. So Arboreal Grazer is going to help us out with that as well. Also, just being a 3 toughness can protect our Teferi, protect our life total, so we can just attack in with our big creatures and not have to worry about not having creatures back to block with. And final here, 4 copies of Crash Through. Just a 1 mana cantrip, just draw a card for 1 mana and maybe trigger our Song of Creation, just do the card draw trigger for Jolrael or the Lorescale Coatl and get all those extra triggers, pretty sweet. And then giving our Lorescale Coatl trample if it's on the battlefield and it's nice and big, or if we especially have multiples of these, and give it a trample, while maybe triggering our Song of Creation to draw additional cards and maybe do other cool stuff. Yeah, it can be pretty insane. So we are running 24 lands because we are pretty mana intensive, and we have all these discard effects as well. So we want to make sure we curve out, especially being in 3 colors. So running full 24 lands might be a little bit too much, but I feel like it's probably where we want to be just to be safe. So we're base Simic, and we're just kind of splashing red for the Scions and the Song of Creation. So we've got 3 islands, 3 forests, just the 1 mountain, and then all these shocklands here: Steam Vents, Stomping Ground, Breeding Pool, and then 1 of Temple Mystery to get us some additional Simic mana, and then all 4 of the Triomes to guarantee that we have the right mana at the right time. So this is just the best 1 deck, no sideboard. So yeah, we'll jump into it, see how it goes. Alright, against Dehera Origaru. We have our Drakehaven and our Song of Creation and a Jolrael. So 2, 3, 4 drops. Seems pretty sweet. We'll keep. Start with the Triome into Forest. And potentially shock in the Breeding Pool. And we just need a 4th land, which shouldn't be too hard. We have the Radical Idea for whenever we need it. Oh, and it's zombies maybe? And discard. And we, if they proc it, then we discard our Radical Idea here. That was Rakdos discard, like Kroxa or something. Well, play the Jolrael. So we have Radical Idea and Island to discard. Oh, freebooter. Right away we get pretty rough matchup. I mean, we're pretty want our kind of a combo-y style list, so we don't want our combo disrupted. We know about Breeding Pool, so we'll play that and play the Drakehaven and say go. So next turn we'll shock in, get our creation online. No mana open to trigger those. They could steward here, that would be pretty annoying. And we have 4 Song of Creation, so it's not the worst. They can't attack in, so I don't know why they wouldn't activate these stewards. That seems like a mistake, honestly. I mean, they're in Rakdos, they don't really have enchantment hate. But I guess they're worried about us attacking in with our 1-2 when they're at 20 life. Seems like a bit of a mistake on their end. So obviously if they had forced the discards and we were empty-handed there, then we're pretty close to conceding because we kind of need all of our stuff. But obviously we have lots of draw effects, so we can do alright. We can grind here with our Drakehaven, but at this point we're pretty far behind, especially with the lack of cards in our hand. I mean, they do just have just a bunch of one power dudes, so. Alright, we'll discard, draw, we'll pay. Just get a creature online. All the lands. I'm gonna have to discard anyway, so I guess we play it out. Oh, there's Song Creation, don't care too much about that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Play the Breeding Pool. Oh yes, now we get extra lands thanks to Song of Creation. We could have shocked in there just to make another 2-2, but we're at 11 life. Maybe the 2-2 is worth it. Alright, Glimpse of Freedom. Let's get aggressive here, swing 2. Alright, we'll draw a couple cards. 3 cards to be exact. Unburden. That's about as vanilla as a cycling spell as you can get. Crash Through, just to draw a card. Some cards. Jolrael, I'll take that. Ooh, Lorescale. Don't think we want to pay a million life here. Alright, so now we got Radical Idea, Glimpse of Freedom in our graveyard. Alright, so a bit of a rough start, but you can see the power of this deck to kind of come back. Alright, they kill the Jolrael. I mean, that's just kind of there just for value and to be a distraction. It's really the Coatl and the Drakehaven that we're really banking on for the maximum value. We'll Coatl here. We'll draw a couple cards. See what we get. That's a nice big 5/5. We'll play the Grazer just to draw some more cards. Whew, look at that. Look at all those triggers. Sure. Alright, let's crash through. So now our Coatl has trample. Ooh, Royal Scions. We'll take that. Alright, Royal Scions. Oh, plus. I'll give you a little trample action. So play Mountain. Swing with the 14 and the 2-2. We take it like a champ. Alright, no shocks, so no way to finish them off. We're gonna have to do it with creatures. You want to try anything else here, or just let it go? We'll just discard and make a couple 2-2s. There we go. Alright, they're so worried about Jolrael, but it's Drakehaven and Coatl that's going to get you. Ooh, Wrath's Contempt. It's like they're on this really budgety list with like Mind Rots and murders and things like that, and then all of a sudden they bust out the big guns of Wrath's Contempt. But yeah, just went super wide, and see, we'd already burned through a couple crash throughs, so we don't have a way to. We're not necessarily going to get that, and without Royal Scions giving them trample, they could have hung in there a little bit longer, but actually the Drakes probably would have, yeah, the Drakes would have killed them, I think. Alright, up against Penguin. Missing red, but we have turn 2 Jolrael, and for someone who's missing land, we have the Radical idea. So yeah, we'll keep it. It's not amazing, but it's decent enough. Alright, Breeding Pool. Still looking for red manas here. Playing Grixis in the unranked play queue. You're gonna Thought Erasure and Bolus me in the unranked play queue? Oh yeah, opt-in response, right? That's how you're supposed to do it. Well, we have all of our Jolraels. That'll distract our opponent. If they're just straight playing Grixis, then we'll just concede. Kite Sail Freebooter. There goes the Royal Scions. We got the Coatl online. Alright, still missing red mana, so I'll probably fire out this radical idea to go digging for it. Also, we need to find our Drakehaven and Song of Creation. The Grixis Pirates. Cool. They're off to a slow start, so that works in our favor. We don't have much interaction. Fire out this radical idea. I'll try to. They have open manas. Swinging with our 4/4. Try to put some pressure on them. Our next one we have Drakehaven plus Crash Through. It's a Beckett Brass list. Nice. Yeah, we can't. The Departed Deckhand can't be blocked, and the Storm Fleet Sprinter also cannot be blocked, so we are in full race mode. Obviously, this type of matchup is not ideal. Trying to avoid these kind of race situations. We'll just crash through. Another land. Alright, so another 2-2 back on defense along with our Jolrael, but they have 2 unblockable creatures. Well, 3 since we don't have a reach or flying right now. There's Beckett Brass, and they're going to get in for 3, and they're going to steal one of our permanents. Yeah, we're in a bad spot right now. What do they steal though? The Coatl? Yep. And then we're just dead next turn. Cool, good game. Nice to see Pirates put in some work. And yeah, obviously lack of interaction is a huge weakness for the list, but we're here playing some jank. Alright, it's Kyubi Slayer. Triple Grazer. We do have the card draw. The Glimpse, so we'll try it. Okay, our opponent mulligans down to nothing. So we got the free win here. You're actually going to play it out, or you're going to concede? Because you mulligan like 5 times. Oh, they are a trooper. They're going to give it a go. 3 cards. That's pretty insane. I'm not going to say no to that. Let's play that. Play you. I'm going to get a second one down. Glimpse of freedom. Alright. Guess we just go for the song. Aren't really doing too much else, so fire that off. So we have double glimpse of freedom, but not really enough stuff in our graveyard as yet. Alright, this will help us kind of dig for some stuff. Ooh. Now we have to choose between Drakehaven and Teferi. I mean, we're here to play Drakehaven, so that's what we're going to go for. No attacks. Discard. So I don't love discarding those. It's a little awkward getting the Song of Creation on early, but unfortunately that was just kind of the hand we were dealt, so we're going to try to make it work. Alright, crash through. What do you got? Another Drakehaven. Coatl. We do like Coatl. So we'll play you. This will shock. And we'll go and start swinging in. Try to put some pressure on them. So we want Drakehaven number 2 to tap out for. And pay life. Probably not worth it. So we'll end turn, discard 2, pay 2. It's fine, just make 2 more Drakes. So we have 1 in play, and we've milled, discarded 2 Drakehavens, so that kind of sucks. Alright. Yeah, we'll Radical Idea Jumpstart, and discarding Radical Idea. Pay 1. Soul Warden's pretty annoying, but we can do quite a bit of damage, so we'll see. So we'll Teferi.
Let's make this quick.
Pay. We'll draw. Doesn't really matter. We'll just swing in the air, keep the Coatl back on defense. Alright, so that's the power of having all these in our graveyard. We can still cast them even if we find lands. Also having Teferi as well. We can also phase out the Soul Wardens so they don't gain a bunch of life. Jolrael, that's pretty good. Sure. Jolrael. Draw 2. So we have 10 damage in the air with the 5 Drakes. Let's see, they have 5, 6, 7 down, so we're pretty close to actually getting lethal, if we can find a crash through here. All the Songs of Creation. It's pretty easy discard fodder. Not going to pay to cycle that, so we'll play it. We'll plus, since we can't do anything else with our Teferi. Discard Song. Okay. Play land. Play Radical Idea. Discarding Song. 2 mana open, we just need 1 for the Coatl. I mean, crash through if we can find it. So yeah, we'll pay. Alright, no crash through, but lots and lots of triggers. Alright, still no crash through. Pretty good spot to attack. I mean, they're in white, so they could have a board clear, but it doesn't seem likely with their, since they're running basically an aggro list. So they chump block, yep, take 10 in the air. Make another Drake. No life gain triggers for you. Brash Taunter. Alright, that should be game. Sweet. Yeah. Go ahead and draw and discard. Triggers our Coatls. Royal Scions. There we go. We have more than lethal, but let's show the full power of this deck. Ultimate power. Alright. 22 trample. What do you got? We'll minus on the Brash Taunter. So that way they can't block our Coatl and hit us for 24. That would kind of suck. Alright, it's Dag Kurama. Jolrael and Coatl. Guess we'll keep. We have to be doing some shocking, and there's our Song of Creation. Sweet. Birth of Melitus. You playing Azorius Control and unranked play queue? Was that what you're up to, dude? Come on. Thought you were better than that. 0-4 wall. Just gonna hold him down for a little bit. Uh-oh, Power Stone Shard. They're ramping over there. Alright, Coatl. No attacks. Gain that life. Oh, Power Stone Shard number 2. They're assembling the pieces over there. And a Pacifism, alright. So, no Lorescale Coatl. Shadow Spear. You got a Shadow Spear your 0-4 wall. Just play out Coatl number 2. Well, our opponent's not doing much, so we'll give it a go here. Banishing Light on the Coatl. Okay. They're not doing much, but they're shutting us down. Oh yeah, equip that wall. Make it a 1/5 with the lifelink. All right, we desperately need some lands here. I guess Scions. Draw, discard. And drop a Grazer off. No land. Man. Obviously, we find a 4th land there to a Song of Creation. That's a little bit different ballgame, but this is where we're at. Our opponents doesn't really seem to be doing too much. They're just kind of rapping and Shadow Spearing their defender. I'm not sure what that's all about. I'm assuming they have some big creature, maybe like a Realm Cloak Giant or something to that effect. Well, Clear the Mind in the early game really is not ideal. Alright, we'll draw a discard. Another Drake Haven. These Grazers aren't really doing much, so we'll drop those off. And unfortunately, we just cannot find lands. So we're going wide, but I'm sure they're going to have a board wipe or something. And they block our Jolrael. Gain 1, take 2. That's not really ideal attacks. And now they have Settle Mana open, 3 cards in hand. And they could be stuck on blue mana, maybe, depending on what they're exactly what they're trying to do. But it doesn't really seem ideal. This game is kind of dragging on. We're going to go for the Drake Haven number 2, and kind of lean on those to carry the day. So we're going to draw a discard.
Let me synthesize the facts.
Clear the Mind's kind of worthless this stage of the game. Obviously, we'll be drawn to it later. We'll pay. Still no attacks. Well, if they're playing Settle the Wreckage, then probably just lose. I mean, we can rebuild with the Drakes, I guess. But not really a good spot to be in. Okay, our opponent just does nothing over there. Sweet. I have no idea what they're holding onto or ramping into. Must have been all lands, and that's why they just gave up against his go wide. I don't know what the Shadow Spear is for. But obviously, Royal Scions is at 8. I think we were going to try to keep it around, so we'll probably plus it again just to draw a discard. Probably play Forest, Song of Creation, and see what we kind of hit from there. Maybe just leave mana open for the Drakes. And obviously, we only need one Song of Creation online, so we don't really care about losing the second one. And just trying to go right with Jolrael and outvalue them that way until they find a board wipe, and then just kind of rebuild with the Drake Havens. Was a plan, but our opponent just kind of gave up there, but still saw some pretty good gameplay overall. So hopefully you guys got a good feel for what the deck is capable of. Obviously, it's pretty on the more on the meme side of things, but Song of Creation is a super sweet card. Drake Haven, personal favorite as well. And then doing with a draw to Lorescale Coatl and Jolrael, it's pretty fun. Teferi kind of fills in those gaps for the draw and discard, and also the -3 can be pretty clutch at times. Clear the Mind is definitely pretty important as well. If you can definitely get these long games where you just mill yourself like crazy and you get really, really low. Obviously, if you draw early, kind of sucks, but you don't really want to run too many of these. So if I could just one, and if you draw early, then you know, just the way it is. But then you have the Glimpse of Freedom and Radical Idea, which work really, really well when you're discarding your entire hand. So that way, next turn, if you you just draw a land, you can't really get the cast triggered to draw 2 more cards and kind of go off with the Coatls and everything like that. Or you can just escape this from your graveyard to draw cards, and that'll kind of draw you additional cards. You can discard that land to the Radical Idea, the jumps already in a Radical Idea, and things like that. And then the Grazer's pretty clutch because obviously we don't really have any interaction. There's no removal or anything like that outside of Teferi's -3. So we need that little bit of 3 toughness to both hold down the fort and kind of ramp us into our turn, into our 3 drops early whenever possible. So yeah, super fun deck. Definitely a lot of fun when it goes off. Not something I would play in ranked at all. Just way too vulnerable to interaction, and there's too many really powerful aggressive decks that'll just run you over before you even get to do anything fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, make sure you jank with a purpose.